You might remember a while back, I reviewed the first season of Netflix's new spin on the Addams Family, Wednesday. If you haven't seen that vid yet, I suggest you do to help get you caught up, but TLDR, it was flawed. However, even with its flaws, I admit I couldn't help but get excited at the idea of season 2. Wednesday feels like one of those shows that has the potential to get better as it grows, become more its own thing, and explores more avenues for its world and characters. And to some degree, that is what's happened. On one hand, I think season 2 is a massive improvement compared to season 1, but also, on the other hand, it feels so much clunkier and worse than certain elements from before. Well, the best way I can explain it is by diving back into the world of Nevermore Academy. Let's tackle Wednesday, Season 2. So on top of the weird release schedule, releasing half of it and then a month later releasing the second half of it, oddly enough, the actual plot and writing also feels like it's been cut in half. The first 4 episodes and the last 4 episodes really differ in pacing, plot progression, and quality. I think the first half of the show is really good. Unfortunately, the last half is a lot more confusing and disappointing.
How does it feel?
Like returning to the scene of the crime.
Let's start with the good. One of my biggest complaints with season 1 was how little the show felt like it cared about the characters of the Addams family. Season 2 embraces the quirky cast much more. Not only are the rest of the family just in the show a lot more, giving them more screen time in general to highlight their personalities, but also they've been gifted their actual unique attributes back. Morticia was already pretty spot on with season 1, but the rest of the family had this dour, sad, drab attitude. Now, Gomez is back to dancing and being excited and romantic. I understand why they're not asking Luis Guzman to attempt Gomez's signature backflips and stuff, but he does bring that infectiously fun energy Gomez is most notable for. Like, just look at how happy he gets because he notices they're selling ice cream.
Creamies!
That's Gomez! That's Gomez Addams right there! It's adorable. But Pugsley is the one I'm most happy with. He barely spoke in season 1, quiet and shy almost. I was worried they'd make him like Wednesday, drowning in ennui and trying too hard to be dark and creepy. But no! They made him a little freak weirdo, and it's great!
Hey Dad, I found some old mouse traps under the sink. You want a snack?
They've gotten his classic style perfectly. He likes being tortured, Wednesday threatens him, he's weird and eats bugs and is excited and fun, an incredibly welcomed addition to the cast. The excuse for why the family is in the show more heavily also makes sense. I was worried it would feel very shoehorned in, but they made it work. The new principal, Dort, played by Steve Buscemi, invites the Addams to stay on the grounds to help with the school functions, but also because he desperately wants money from them. I'll get more into that plot point in a bit. Pugsley is now old enough to join Nevermore Academy himself. Can't you tell? That boy had a massive growth spurt between seasons, unlocking electricity-controlling powers just like Uncle Fester. On the topic of powers, season 2 plays around a lot more with the Outcast's abilities. Season 1, likely due to its more limited budget, had a lot of the powers be more on the simple side. There weren't many transformations, and a lot of the characters were just psychic, because you don't need to do a lot of CG or practical stuff for psychic things. Season 2 plays around not only with new powers, but also with giving the existing characters new abilities too. Wednesday no longer throws her head back in the goofiest way possible when she has a psychic episode. Now her eyes start to cry black goo. Visually, much more interesting in my opinion. Bianca, who originally just had some scales if she was near water, now also uses a siren song that can make people do whatever she tells them to do. Principal Dort is a pyrokinetic, and we get a lot of other new characters too. Agnes, a girl who's obsessed with Wednesday who can turn invisible. Orloff, a teacher who's a head in a jar. Also, he's played by Christopher Lloyd, and I think it's really cute that we now have 2 different actors from the classic 80s movie coming back to be in this new version of the world of the Addams family. We deal with an avian, someone who can control birds, similar to how Eugene can control bugs. Thing gets to do a lot more, even getting his own living space in their dorm. Clearly, they had a lot more of a budget and got to play around with with it a lot more. But now that we've gotten caught up on the characters and the world, let's actually start to tackle the plot. Or should I say, the many, many interweaving plot threads they try to do this season.
It's nothing. Just a minor psychic glitch.
Okay, so Wednesday's black goo eye thing. Turns out it's actually a sign that her psychic powers aren't under her control. Morticia reveals a sister she's had that we've never mentioned before, Ophelia. Ophelia was also psychic, because that's what every woman in this family does, apparently. Ophelia ended up dying because she couldn't control her powers.
When do I get to read your novel?
When the sun explodes and the earth is consumed in a molten apocalypse.
Yeah, Wednesday still has this thing where she hates her mom. I was a little disappointed with this, but it actually makes sense. Wednesday doesn't like her mom because she wants to be better than her and thinks she's independent enough to make her own choices. Morticia is actively impeding Wednesday's progress, but Morticia is also upset with her own mother. Yes, Grandmama finally gets introduced to this season. No Cousin It though, still. Grandmama, who, surprise surprise, is psychic, encourages Wednesday to continue improving her psychic abilities. This pisses off Morticia, who's worried Wednesday will die just like her sister did. Motherhood! Themes! Yay! You know, I think the writers really shot themselves in the foot making Wednesday psychic, and also a detective.
I need you to tell me about your case.
Yeah, she's back on her Nancy Drew shtick. There's an avian who controls a one-eyed raven, going around killing people and terrorizing Wednesday. It's up to Wednesday to solve this case. Well, it should be easy with her psychic powers, right? They even start the whole story showing us how she can very, very easily track down serial killers thanks to her psychic powers. Oh. Okay, never mind. I guess she was just too OP. It's like, you know, when you beat Breath of the Wild and you have full hearts and a bunch of helpful tools, but at the start of Tears of the Kingdom they take all that away from you? It's like that, which is a weird choice. Why have her master her abilities just to take them away? Why not have her still trying to learn them instead? Later it's explained psychic skills are attached to familial history. Wednesday fighting her mom was already an obstacle for her. Why make her overpowered just to have a weird excuse of nerfing her?
You like a sticker.
Only if you have one that says do not resuscitate.
Thankfully, Wednesday is much less obnoxious this time around. Hands down, the worst thing about season 1 was how insufferable Wednesday was.
But drip is for people who hate themselves and know their lives have no real purpose or meaning.
OMG, you drink a different style of coffee than what I like? I think you're literally subhuman scum. Don't you think I'm cool and interesting? Thankfully, this time around, she's toned down a lot. She's still Wednesday. She's still selfish and arrogant, but rather than being the most obnoxious brat in the world, she's actually just sarcastic and quippy. Honestly, the way she's written now is how the big fans of season 1 pretended like she was written before.
As Voltaire once said, the happiest of lives is a busy solitude.
And anytime she does go too far, there's always someone, usually Enid, to stand their ground against her.
You unleash chaos just so you can stamp it out and then feel superior.
OMG, Wednesday's had a premonition of Enid's death, and it's going to be all her fault, and somehow the avian is related to it all. Looks like it's up to Wednesday to solve this case and save her best friend. Yeah, they just dropped both of these plot points in episode 6. Yeah, after going the whole first 4 episodes with this being the main plot, after the second half kicks in, they just kind of drop or change a lot of their plot points. Wednesday decides to avoid Enid because she's afraid she'll die and her premonition will come true. Aw, how cute. Wednesday has a real friend. I mean, I guess Agnes is a friend too, but, like, her life isn't in immediate danger, so she can hang out. Also, she's Wednesday's #1 fan and stalker, so that kinda puts a damper on their relationship too, I guess. But no, since Wednesday is avoiding Enid, it means for more than half of the story, Enid just isn't really in it. Like, it makes sense for Wednesday's plot for her to stay distant, but Enid doesn't get to do anything else, which sucks. Other characters get plot lines, like Pugsley and Bianca. Enid is one of the most fun parts of the show, and her and Wednesday's dynamic is arguably the best thing the show has. So the fact that dynamic and her character is just absent for the majority of it is such a disappointment. Instead, Enid busies herself with her new boyfriend, Bruno. He is literally so unimportant and bland. He has no personality other than is the one Enid wants to make out with. We find out he's cheating on her before we even give him a single personality trait. Dumb waste of time. You might be thinking, what happened to Ajax? Weren't Enid and him dating at the end of season 1? Yes. Oh well, I guess we didn't want to do that this time.
Is Enid around?
She left earlier with the pack.
You can feel how painfully obvious it is that the writers had no idea what to do with him. He has one thing he gets to do this season. Other than that, he just trails around behind other people while they do their plots and contributes very little, honestly. You might have also noticed Wednesday's boyfriend is also missing. Well, turns out his actor is a terrible garbage person, and the show decided rather than recasting the character, they just quietly wrote him out of the story. I think it's for the best. Like I said, he was just another psychic after all. There are already so many psychics, we don't need another one bumming around adding nothing of interest. Also, let's be honest, everyone just ships Wednesday and Enid, right? I was so disappointed when Enid rolled up with Bruno because, like, come on, they're perfect for each other.
Get it? Like Beowulf? I thought you'd love the literary reference.
So after spending 4 episodes avoiding Enid, Wednesday and Uncle Fester break into the place Tyler is being held. Remember, he was that ugly CG monster villain from the first season? Tyler's dad was one of the victims of the avian, and in his escape because of Wednesday's shenanigans, he ends up killing his master. Not gonna lie, this episode was fantastic. Thrilling, well-paced. Tyler's actor, Hunter Dewin, is amazing. He was also in Daredevil's latest season, and it is very good. He is very good at being a creepy villain. I hope he gets a lot more roles. So, we discover the avian is this lady, Judy. She's an assistant here at this hospital, and her dad had a whole evil science lab under the building where he imprisoned people and, like, gave her outcast powers.
I was born in Normie. My beautiful black-winged friends obey my every whim.
Things go poorly. Tyler escapes. Wednesday is stuck in a coma. While in her coma, Wednesday unlocks a brand new spirit guide. Her old principal from last season, Weems. Wait, what? I actually totally forgot spirit guides were even a thing, not gonna lie. So this season really seemed to struggle with some of the ideas from season 1. That it clearly doesn't know what to do with some of them anymore. The spirit guide thing is a perfect example. In season 1, Wednesday's spirit guide was Goody Adams. Her guidance was mostly just nightmarish flashbacks and visions. Weems here just kind of mills around every now and then and chats with Wednesday. Also, initially, spirit guides were supposed to be relatives, so they've retconned Weems into being a distant relative of Wednesday.
Turns out we're 13th cousins. Twice removed.
On one hand, I'm fine with this. I love Gwendolyn Christie, and I am very happy to see her coming back and doing more. But on the other hand, this feels so weird and contrived, right? Like, it feels like they regret killing off her character and came up with a random excuse to bring her back. It's not like Wednesday needed a spirit guide. She was doing fine with Goody's spellbook before Morticia burned it, and she was already regularly seeking guidance from Grandmama and Morticia every now and then begrudgingly. There's other things you can tell the show didn't want to keep around or wanted to change between seasons. Yoko, that one random vampire friend Enid had, has completely vanished. Pilgrim World and the residents from Jericho have been minimized a ton. The sheriff was replaced with a new person even before he was murdered by the avian. The Nightshades, their weird little club or whatever, was disbanded right away.
I am abolishing the Nightshades and all secret societies.
But I can see why these things got left behind. It's not like they were adding much to the story anyways. Yoko had no lines of dialogue. The Jericho bullies are minor issues compared to the actual serial killers Wednesday is hunting down. The Nightshades literally didn't do anything. It was just an excuse for the characters to stand next to each other. They could have been in a chess club for all it was really worth. Anyways, Wednesday awakens from her coma with her new, very tall and gorgeous spirit guide in tow. But before we continue the story, we actually need to rewind back to the beginning to address some of the other plot threads. Wednesday wasn't the only one getting into shenanigans, remember? Bianca and Pugsley have their own plot lines that we need to cover before jumping back to Wednesday.
Here are the ground rules. No eye contact without permission.
Pugsley ends up spending most of his time with Eugene, even though their friendship is a little rocky to start with.
Perfect for late night munchies. They're pets.
Personally, I think this is a huge upgrade for Eugene. Wednesday was terrible to him, and I like these two boys together. They have fun chemistry. Anyways, the boys hear a scary story about a sickly kid named Isaac who used to go to school here. They replaced his sick heart with a mechanical one. He went on to do crazy scientific experiments, but ended up blowing up in the tower and was buried under a nearby tree. Pugsley, bummed he's struggling to make friends, goes to check out the tree and accidentally jumpstarts the clockwork heart, and out pops a zombie! Hooray!
Now we have a pet and a best friend.
Maybe don't call other people pets? Wasn't that a weird Nintendogs-esque game where you had pet zombies? Was that real? Was there controversies with that? It feels weird, right? Meanwhile, Bianca's subplot is weird. Dort makes her use her siren song to force the Atoms into working for the school and donating money to them. She can't siren song Dort though, because he has a special charm that nullifies the effects. And then, periodically, we see Bianca's mother, and we learn they used to be in a cult?
Only way you were leaving that cult was in handcuffs or a body bag.
This really comes out of nowhere. Like with episode 3, this just suddenly gets thrown at us. Their cult leader was using Bianca's mother's siren song to force people into joining the cult and giving them money. Doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, episode 7 starts and just shows us that Dort was the mastermind behind the cult leader. Then he literally just walks out of his office and enters the hideout for Bianca's mom and is like, surprise, I'm the villain.
You're part of Morning Song?
I am Morning Song.
It's so weird. Like, I expected Bianca to piece it together herself. It seemed pretty obvious, you know. But no, actually, Bianca has very little agency and doesn't actually do a whole lot for herself in this plotline. What's even weirder is the other characters have absolutely nothing to do with this until the second to last episode.
I can't believe Bianca had a whole crime drama going on and none of us knew about it.
It feels so weirdly shoehorned in. Mostly it just feels like an excuse to have another dance-themed episode, because Wednesday's dance got real popular on TikTok last time, so we gotta try to capture that lightning in a bottle again. And they actually used a Lady Gaga song this time too. But for real, the resolution just happens. They don't trick Dort into giving up his charm. Agnes just turns invisible and, like, takes it off of him. Like, listen, I know he can't see her, but really? He couldn't feel someone pulling open his jacket and pulling the large locket out of his pocket? Really? Bianca makes him confess, and then Ajax swoops in, and he does the one thing he does this season, and then actually ends up killing Dort? Like, it was an accident. They didn't mean for the chandelier to fall, but still. Bianca's entire plot is probably the biggest letdown for me this season. It's weird, it's clunky, it doesn't really fit into the rest of the plot lines, and I think it sucks that Bianca gets forgotten and left behind by the others. She never really gets to hang out with them.
I've barely seen you all semester.
Well, anyways, while Dort was getting killed off, Pugsley ended up getting himself kidnapped. But who was this handsome fellow nabbing Pugsley in the woods? Well, remember his pet zombie?
Brains. They brought me back.
So, despite their best efforts, Pugsley and Eugene couldn't stop Isaac from eating a few people's brains, but with each brain he consumed, he regenerated his physical form and mind. So, surely he's abducting Pugsley for revenge, right? For being chained up and electrocuted? No. It's actually because now it's time for the rest of the For Realsies plot.
That's good. It's enough slices!
Yeah, there's still more plot threads I haven't even started to talk about yet. Wednesday awakens from her coma. Surely now she'll tell the officers about the avian's identity, right? No. She runs off and then Isaac just kills the avian off screen. Okay. The avian was the plot, right? That's all Wednesday was doing all season. The first 5 episodes are dedicated to Wednesday trying to solve the mystery with this serial killer, and then we just throw it away. Wednesday doesn't even get to bring in the murderer. No, instead, Wednesday now only cares about the fact Tyler has escaped, convinced he's the reason for her premonition about Enid's death. Wednesday decides she wants to try and become Tyler's new master since he killed his old one, but before she can attempt that incredibly dumb decision, surprise! There's another Hyde?
We had a deal.
So one of the escapees from the hospital is actually Tyler's mother, who we, the audience, and Tyler thought was dead this whole time. Wow, and look, see, it's that motherhood theme again. Mothers, themes. Are we doing something? Wait and find out. They escape, and Wednesday is pissed, so she goes to talk to a spirit in an attempt to get her psychic powers back to help her find Tyler. And hey, look, it's actually Lady Gaga. That's fun. Now she's been in both Monster High and this knockoff version of Monster High. Wow. Shenanigans. Wednesday and Enid swap bodies.
No, 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 no.
Does this feel sorta contrived and sudden and like it comes out of nowhere and is a weird tone shift coming off of the reveal of Tyler's mother being alive? Yes. But also, I can't lie, this is one of the most fun episodes. Like, you can just feel how much fun Jenna Ortega and Emma Myers were having portraying each other's characters. It is a bit on the goofy side. Neither girl really seems to be doing too much to really convince others something isn't wrong.
Saved you a seat.
Coming, guys!
Honestly, this episode makes me think there should have been way more episodes. When the show is just fun filler in this unique setting, I think it's at its best. The camping episode, the prom episode from last time, when the characters are just in this world and engaging with each other, it's infectiously charming. Too bad it keeps getting in its own way with the Nancy Drew crap. Out of nowhere, Enid suddenly starts getting her own plot. Like literally. It was just background character stuff with her lame boyfriend, and then we decide she can finally have a plot point.
It means you could be an alpha.
Don't alphas normally end up alone?
In theory, this plot is really interesting. The one thing Enid wants is community, a relationship. This threat of ending up alone is very interesting. But they've done friggin' nothing for this plot to actually land. We only hear about alphas and the ideas that they're these lone wolves literally in this scene, where the plot is presented to Enid. It comes out of nowhere. And it's just another plot thread to throw onto the pile of other things going on. There's so many things. I haven't even managed to find a good time to mention Things plotline of feeling underappreciated and not knowing where he comes from. On the topic of having more filler episodes, we could let these many plot threads and characters breathe a bit if we had more time. I don't care about Enid dumping Bruno because he never got to be a character, and I struggle to get engaged with this sudden new plot of being an alpha because we're just speedrunning past these things to try to keep up with Wednesday's dumb investigation. Anyways, after swapping bodies, both girls end up learning about each other's problems, being an alpha and the premonition of Enid's death. Meanwhile, Tyler and his mother have a visitor. Turns out, it's Isaac, the zombie, because actually, he's Tyler's uncle?
Is that any way to greet your brother?
Okay. I guess this is happening now. So, the avian had used the machine in the basement to give herself, a normie, outcast powers. Isaac wants to use it to take away his sister's powers. Being a Hyde is slowly killing her and Tyler, but our squad shows up, wrecks the machine, and then manages to swap back into their own bodies. But OMG, Wednesday's premonition has changed!
And atoms must die.
But why, though? For only having 8 episodes, this season is all over the place. All of the plot threads from the first half of the show gets completely dropped. Ooh, we're hunting down the avian. Never mind, she's dead. Wednesday has a vision about Enid's death. Never mind, it's actually an Addams family member's death. And spoilers, no they don't. No one dies. Wednesday has 2 different visions of the future, and neither of them come true. So, finally, we've made it back to Pugsley's kidnapping. Enid has to wolf out on the full moon, and apparently alphas get stuck in wolf form if this happens. They introduce this concept to us one episode before it comes to fruition. Oh no, Enid's stuck as a werewolf. No time for that plot point though, we have to finish all the other random things we were doing. Since the other lab blew up, Isaac returns to the tower in the school where his original experiments happened. We discover he's attempted this before, and it was the cause of his previous death. Because surprise, Gomez used to have outcast powers. He also had electricity, but Isaac sucked up all the power out of him in his attempt to take away his sister powers before. So now he's going to use Pugsley to try again, but this time it's for Tyler.
No, you have no right to take my power from me!
I do like how we've really amped up the stakes here at the end. Neither of these boys want to lose their powers. It helps to firmly make Isaac the definitive villain this time around. The Addams family shows up. Wednesday frees Tyler because maybe they still have a thing for each other. I honestly don't know. Oh yeah, turns out Thing is Isaac's hand. Like, I guess. I appreciate them trying to give Thing more of a character, but it feels so weirdly just tacked on at the end, and it doesn't really mean anything in the end anyways. So, surprise, we did it. We saved the day, and basically everything this season got retconned. Isaac's dead, again, and Tyler's mom is actually dead, like how we all already thought. Nevermore still has no principal.
Now that Nevermore is Nevermore.
The way Agnes says this, it feels like it's implying the school is closing or something. Personally, I don't think that'll happen. I'm betting on this now. Season 3 is going to start with either Grandmama or Morticia buying the school to stop it from foreclosing or whatever, and then they'll be the new principal. I think abandoning the school setting would just kill the show. Like, this is part of the fun, right? The season ends with Wednesday and Fester driving off to go find Enid so they can help unwolf her.
I'm offering a support system for people just like you.
Okay, sure, I guess. Season 2 is weird, and not the usual Addams Family kind of weird. There are so many things trying to go on here, and it just doesn't work. Every other plot point feels like oil and water. They don't really blend together, and it makes the season feel really clunky. Very stop and go. Plot points just get kind of dropped out of nowhere, or change suddenly. What's worse is everything really hinges on things conveniently happening. It was convenient when Pugsley jump-started Isaac's heart. It was convenient Tyler's mom happened to be imprisoned by the avian. It was convenient Bianca didn't know Dort was connected to the cult she was raised in. All these conveniences makes the world feel small. I think the biggest issue is the fact the characters get unfortunately sidelined by their own plots. Enid being a potential alpha and getting stuck as a werewolf should be so much bigger of an element. We should have lingered with this a lot more. We should have talked to the others about it more. But no. Every single thing about Alpha's and Enid's plot is shoved in at the last second. The moment she learns Alphas stay wolfed out on the full moon, it's obvious this is going to happen to her. Bianca's plot, alternatively, takes up a lot of screen time, but ultimately just goes nowhere. It does very little for her character growth, has the lamest plot progressions, and again, forces our characters to not interact. On the flip side, I think Agnes's plot was the best. We get introduced to her, we see her obsession with Wednesday grow beyond a breaking point, and we see her regularly struggling with making real bonds.
I thought I would finally be seen.
She learns to stop emulating Wednesday and just be herself. She's a fun character with a neat power, a very welcome addition to the cast. Going back to season 1 is weird not having her around. Pugsley's plot is also very well done. It's given way less screen time, instead choosing to focus on Isaac's regeneration and subsequent family drama, but Pugsley and Eugene slowly becoming real friends is adorable. Then there's Wednesday herself.
It wasn't years of police work that exposed Tyler as a hide, it was me.
She's not the worst part of the season, which is a big improvement from last time, I guess, but she's also not doing anything that noteworthy. She moves the plot forward, but she doesn't resolve any of the plots. She runs around and figures out where the bad guys are hiding, but then once she gets there, Other people are the ones actually doing something to save the day. Isaac killed the avian. Things stopped Isaac. Wednesday, despite constantly running around playing Scooby-Doo with herself, actually feels like she accomplishes very little. The biggest thing about season 2 though, that motherhood theme didn't really go anywhere.
You do spoil her, Rotten.
We had this whole thing going on about Wednesday still hating Morticia. Morticia hates her mother. Tyler has his mother coming back but is abusive. Bianca is protecting her mother from Dort. There's all these themes surrounding the idea of the mothers in the story, but it just doesn't go anywhere. They don't have any unifying concept other than the idea of there's a mother. Wednesday and Morticia's relationship is still rocky, and Wednesday still hasn't gotten her psychic powers back. Overall, I like season 2 better than season 1. While the plot was all over the place, and I wish the characters got to actually spend more time with each other, overall, I think it was better executed. You can tell they struggled to move things forward based on where they had left them off last time, but the ending of season 2 feels like they have a really solid plan moving into season 3. I can already tell though, this season won't be nearly as big as season 1. There was a lot of departure from what the first season was like. A lot of the characters got dropped or had their plot lines retconned or reset. I think they wanted to do too much. With only 8 episodes, I don't think they were really able to tell the story they wanted to make. Everything's just running non-stop with no breathing room, and it feels suffocating. And not the kind of suffocating Wednesday usually likes, you know?
What do you know? It scares little kids and little monsters.
You and your Uncle Fest have the same ability.
It's so weird that it skipped you, Dad.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into.
I'll dance with my hands. And historians will call them close friends, besties, roommates.
Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Holly, Messiah, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Rain, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Twisty, Juan, Bunkin Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, Sean, Primaroon, Overhypen, Lavaros, Knight, Plague, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Aguirre, Shahid, Eden, The Eliza, Doki Pokey, Moon of Blues, Spencer, Bargus Blue, Cage the Mage, Zappy, Wolfgang, Dima, and Philip. Thank you for watching. What did you think? Did you watch season 2? Was the wait too long? I think 2 years was way too long. I also hate how they split the season in half, with the first 4 episodes dropping and then a month later the last 4 episodes. I think that was stupid. But what did you think? Did you like it more or less than season 1? What do you think about the various plot points and character elements and stuff? Do you have any theories about season 3? Any and all thoughts and opinions? I would love to see them in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.